Gamers! Hello there. After the video about General Goro, I understood that I had to address the elephant in the room, which is ironically Paimon. In my opinion, she should not even exist in this game, and is an irrelevant character who irritates most of the players. Some even outright hate her, not because of her voice, but because of the whole situation surrounding her. I will explain my point of view, so bear with me. It won't take that long. First up is the fact that she's not necessary in the game. From the second you meet her, she starts following you around, never leaves your side, and says everything the traveler usually would have said, with her pitch voice, which eradicates the seriousness from the main quest. Let's go there, let's beat those guys, go to Mondstadt, Liyue, beat those Abyss guys again, let's search for your brother. I mean, why does she care so much about your missions? Almost every major set piece happens because of her decisions. Remember that part with Albedo and his clone? Well, all of that happened because she wanted a mixer from him. Almost every event happens because she wants you to do it. I mean, it's not like you have anything better to do, right? Your sibling can wait another 100 years or more. Just look at this, for example. This should have been a conversation between you, Paimon, and Shenhei, but it devolves to a dialogue between Shenhei and Paimon. And if you think this happens only here, well, you are wrong. This is the case in every conversation you have, and will have. Paimon should not be speaking all the time. The best she should have done is make funny or sarcastic remarks and establish herself as a comedic relief. Instead, she becomes annoying and irritating. The real funny or sad thing is that the traveler actually has a voice, which she never uses. The only time I remember her saying something was at the end of the Liyue main quest, where she asks if she could hang the posters about her brother. I mean, who thought it was a good idea to hire voice actresses and voice actress to give a character their voice, but never use them in game? It just baffles me. Second problem is that she is irrelevant. Just imagine if Traveler spoke all of her lines and not be represented by Paimon all the time, then she should have nothing to do. What else would she talk about? Food? Drinks? Sleep? And resting? Wow, that's the characteristic for almost every person on this goddamn planet. Which brings us to her personality. She does not have one. I mean, tell me about something that is specific to her. Mostly. I know, right? There is none. It's as if she saps some of the personality of the Traveler in order to fill her own and make herself relevant, or make Traveler worse in order to remain relevant. This is stupid. She gets no character development whatsoever. We don't know anything about her, even though there aren't any similar living beings in close proximity. Almost no one questions this fact, and is henceforth never explained. A good opportunity missed, in my opinion. What we have here is the main character split into two. Just imagine if there was no Paimon, then Traveler would have spoken on her own, and according to the dialogue I've witnessed so far, would have been either sarcastic and funny, or funny slash sorta serious type of a person, who would have been ready to help those that are in need of it. A typical badass main protagonist, who clicks for the most players. Just imagine a discount version of Dante slash Nero from Devil May Cry. Maybe slightly more edgy sometimes, but still okay. I would have enjoyed this kind of a persona, but what we got are two unfinished characters who just take each other's personalities because they don't have any, and because of that they will never be able to grow on their own. It's that simple. They are in constant conflict with each other. Most of the time the Traveler looks like a third person in her own story, which tells a lot. One simple solution would have been the one I've mentioned already if Paimon never existed. The second one is a lot more complicated, because it involves a bit more effort from the writers. Paimon has to become relevant. She needs a character, a specific goal, a role to play, and in the end grow as a character. Here lies a big wasted opportunity. Instead of her being completely useless, she could have been your navigator, for example, and it's because of her that you even have a pretty detailed world map, and on top of that, minimap too. This also would have been a clever way to explain the existence of those maps, and every time you touch the Statue of the Seven, the Traveler would have gotten the elemental power, and Paimon the knowledge about the region, and create a map. Plus, this also gives her another interest besides the food. She could have had a thirst of getting to know unknown places, cities, unexplored ruins. This also would explain her willingness of becoming your travel buddy. Now, I could have understood why she wanted to go almost everywhere. Or if you want to have a Paimon whose sole purpose is to talk about food, then make her a professional chef and let her do all the cooking. It does not make any sense to have a sidekick who does almost nothing, except hover around you and manipulate the protagonist from the shadows. She also could have been searching for something important too, and that's why she joins the Traveler, but as it stands now, she has no purpose, a waste of food and place. At the end of the Enkanomiya questline, after fighting the Fire Abyss Lector, he says some interesting stuff about Paimon, but everything is still vague about her. We know she comes from Celestia or someplace similar. Give us something to chew upon, miHoYo. I mean, I've been playing this game for more than a year, and I still can't say for sure who or what Paimon is. Does she have no memories of who she was before meeting the Traveler? Give us a glimpse of her past. Even a comedic relief needs a background in order for us to at least care about her. This whole situation with Enkanomiya shows that writers do have an idea of what to do with her, but afraid to do it. Trust me, miHoYo, you can't make Paimon worse than she already is. Give her something and separate her from the Traveler. For fuck's sake, even the side characters have more character development than her. I mean, look at Enjo from Enkanomiya questline, and tell me you don't know more about him than Paimon. He's set up simple, and that's what Paimon needs too. And the fact that he's a Fire Abyss Lector was kinda surprising. I already had suspicions about him, but nothing like this. I hope the other Lectors get the same kind of love and affection from miHoYo. Or take Neko or Rue from the Tsurumi Islands side quest as an example. Whoever does these quests needs a promotion. And the reason they work is simple. There is no rush. Every involved character gets his or her turn, which awakens our feelings to care about them or something similar. One major drawback are their looks. I mean, is it really that hard to give, for example, Rue, Enjo, or Teppei from the main quest line a sort of a unique model? It's like they wanted to make something similar when they started with Mondstadt and gave, for example, Cyrus, the guildmaster of the Adventurers Guild, a pretty unique model and looks. But then they said, fuck it takes too much effort, give everyone generic NPC looks. They even reuse Cyrus's looks in the Tsurumi questline for another side character. Currently, I can understand the looks of Cyrus, but for Rue, Enjo, Teppei, and many other, who are also equally important, I'm not so sure. Why is it so hard to make new base models or other variants is baffling for me. It's not as if miHoYo does not have resources, right? This fact makes the world slightly lifeless, especially when in every goddamn quest you see the same base models over and over again, with exactly same facial expressions. But I'm getting sidetracked. Back to the topic. Because of Paimon, the main character becomes a passive hero or heroine, a character that does not move the story, rather gets pushed by it, which in turn makes us question her whole motivation for the journey, outside of her silence during the major story parts. But Borislav, my dear comrade, I hear you say, the main protagonist is silent in order for us to identify ourselves as them. Well, show me one game where that worked perfectly. Persona series? Nah, dude. And before you tell me about Zelda or Half-Life, please note that the situations in those games are different. Why do we even get multiple choices during dialogues is beyond me. Since every time you answer something that leads in another direction, Paimon corrects you, tells you to get your head out of your arse, and sends you in a direction she prefers. I mean, one of the reasons why Hangout events work so well is because there is no Paimon. There is no one besides your ear with a squeaky voice to manipulate you. I mean, if devs at this point are aware of this fact and are purposely setting Paimon as a master manipulator behind the scenes, a puppet master in order to make her the secret final boss, then my hat's off to you, my dear devs, and I will never question anything about Paimon. At the end of the day, Paimon is a problem, and works only as a detriment to the whole game. There was a way to integrate her cleverly, but as it stands now, she's like a pesky mother who only lets you do things she wants you to. Thank you for listening, like and subscribe, bye bye.